Okay, Mom found out she was pregnant with Hope, and she and Dad were both thrilled, and they went to the doctor she was several months pregnant with her, and the doctor that she was seeing at the time told my mom that Hope was a tumor and that her lifespan probably wouldn't be very long, and it would be probably the best for all of them and our family, and would be better for them and for the baby that they abort her. And of course my parents did not agree with that. They were obviously devastated. Like, to hear that about your child, like, obviously that's so heartbreaking, but they did not agree with aborting their baby. I'm so glad that that's not something that they did, because if it was, I would not have had my sister. So after they did not agree with what that doctor was telling them, and so they went to a different doctor. He was a very Christian doctor, and he helped my mom all the way through her pregnancy and gave her hope, and there was a lot of hands placed on my mom's tummy through her pregnancy. Both my mom and my dad's side of the family are very religious people, especially my dad's side. There was a lot of prayer through the 9 months, and on July 20th, 1999, Hope was born. What the other doctor had thought was a tumor ended up being a double collective system, and it wasn't attached, and it was causing urine to back up into her body. And so my mom was then, my mom and Hope were both sent to Children's Hospital, and that's where they met Preston Smith, which was Hope's doctor, and he's the one that performed surgery on her in order to connect that tube. Of course, her recovery time, but after her surgery she was perfectly fine, and she is, living her normal life today. There was nothing wrong with her after that. Hope's name is Josie Hope Mizell, and they have the hope in there because of the hope that they had throughout her pregnancy, my mom's pregnancy. Hope that she would live, and hope that everything would be okay, and having faith in God. When we were really little, my mom had this blue van with the rolling door that you had to open and rolled back. Hope was probably 4 or 5, maybe 6, but little, like just starting school or not in school yet. And we were up in North Carolina, which is where my dad's parents, my grandparents live, and we were about to leave to go back home, and it was an hour drive back, and it was late, and my mom went to open the door, and she put us in the car. She went to close the door, and Hope's hand was right there, and she smashed her fingers in the door. And obviously my mom immediately opened the door after she realized what she had done, and Hope's fingers were so tangled and mangled, just like my mom knew that they were broken. My mom took Hope in the house and showed my grandma what had happened, and they got some ice and they put the ice on her hand, and my grandpa prayed over her hand, and within minutes the blood was gone, and she had some bruises obviously, but her fingers were not broken, and she was fine. And my mom totally 100% believes that they were broken before they started praying over her, and after my grandpa prayed over her that they were just fine, and that ended up being her right hand, which is her pitching hand, which is the hand that she pitches with now. So it was the end of my junior year, at the very end of the season. It was actually senior, not my junior year, and me and Hope were both on our way home, and it was late. We had stopped and got something to eat after the game. We were almost home, like 5 minutes from the house, and I was in my Honda, and it was kind of quiet. We weren't really talking. We were tired and ready to get home and go to bed. And out of nowhere, a deer jumps out from my right side and jumps in front of me. And my immediate reaction was to swerve over to try to miss it. But right when I swerved, there was a guardrail, and I hit it. And that was the last thing I remembered. And my dad had pulled me out of the car because he was traveling behind me. He had seen it happen. He pulled me out of the car because he thought the car was on fire because of the airbags. When they deployed, it caused smoke in the car, and he thought it was on fire. So he pulled me out of the car and laid me on the side of the road. And so my first and immediate thought when I came to was, where is Hope? Because I didn't really know where I was, and I was kind of confused as to what had happened. And I felt like no one was answering my question because I was in panic, but they were so busy like doing their job, trying to make sure I was okay and trying to get questions from my dad on what had happened. And I just felt overwhelmed and kind of stressed because I just wanted to know where my sister was and if she was okay. And nobody was answering that, and until I got in the ambulance. And I was laying there strapped to the board, and I asked again the guy that was working on me, he was injecting an IV, and I asked him, where is my sister, like how is my sister? And he was the one that actually answered me and was like, she's okay. If she was in any type of danger or trouble, that they would be rushing her to the hospital, but everybody seems to be, you know, calm. And so that calmed me, but just for a minute there I was just so panicked. We took out 20 feet of guardrail, and we were wearing our seatbelts, but we came out with not a scratch on us. Hope, they think, had hit her head on the windshield. We were both knocked unconscious. Besides Hope's concussion, we were absolutely fine, and again, that was God. From the get-go, my dad started a team with me and Hope on it, and it was an 8 and under team, and I was 7 and Hope was 6. We were called the Knockouts, and it was so much fun. That was a fun year, and I remember like not knowing the rules of the game, and like I couldn't understand why the other team got to bat longer than us because we couldn't get 3 outs for nothing. And but me and Hope started that together, and when we got old enough to where it wasn't coach pitch anymore, Hope wanted to pitch, and of course I wanted to do that with her, so we started pitching lessons together, and I very quickly found out that that's not what I wanted to do. And so I started catching at Hope's pitching lessons, and that's where I started catching, and Hope was pitching, and that's where our duo started. Hope is smaller. She has always been the smallest, like even when we were little, and there was still like the height difference, like I was always tallest, and then Hope, and then Jordan, and then Brooke. It was like I always just kind of knew she was going to be the shortest one just because she wasn't growing as fast as the others. I've always said Hope will be the shortest, and she is. And because of that, she's 5'5", and because of that, she doesn't have the strength that other pitchers usually do, and so it's harder for her to build up velocity to be able to throw the ball harder or as hard as other pitchers, other successful pitchers. But what makes her as good as them is her work ethic. She works so hard. Like there's times where I'm done for the day and I'm ready to stop, and I'm like, all right, let's go inside. She's like, no, a couple more pitches, I can get this right, I can fix this, I can spin this tighter, I can really fix my curveball here, I can do this. And just, she has a drive to be good, and that's what makes her good. It's not because she has this stature ability. She's not this 6-foot left-handed pitcher. She's 5'5", and she's a righty. Going through high school with Hope, we started softball together, and then we started high school together. Obviously, I've always been a year ahead of her, so I played the 1 year without her, and then she came up with me. But we had these certain goals together that we wanted to achieve, and one of those goals was, or a couple of those goals was to beat specific teams in our district tournament. We ended up beating Saudi and Walker Valley while I was there, while me and her were both there together. And those were some schools that were very hard to beat. Actually, Saudi we had never beaten in school history until my junior year. And then, so our next one that we really wanted to beat before I graduated was Ooltewah. And we sadly did not achieve that goal while I was in my senior year. We came close, but we didn't. We ended up falling short. But this past year, in Hope's senior year, it was at home, and it was the Ooltewah game. and they beat Ottawa, and I was sitting up in the press box. And that last inning, it was really, really close, and we were on defense, and I just remember thinking like it could just take one home run or just a couple people to get on base and then someone to jack one and it's over and we lose, and we were ahead. And I remember when Hope threw that last pitch and the umpire rung it up, and I just started crying. And this is stupid to cry about, because I was so proud of her. And even though I wasn't down there doing it with her, and there was another catcher down there, and I was still so proud of her because she had worked so hard for that. And I went down to the field, and she was the first person I went to, and I hugged her and we were crying, and because I was so proud. I think anybody who knows about Hope and about what she's been through and about everything that she's accomplished can take away from that anything, absolutely anything is possible with God, because there's not a moment in Hope's life that God hasn't been there, and everything that she's accomplished is because she full-heartedly believes in God. I see her in her room studying her Bible and praying, and I just know that she couldn't have done any of this without her dedication and hard work and without her love for Jesus. Today, Hope is 18, July 20th, 2017. Happy birthday, Hope. I love you so much. You are my inspiration to keep going forward and to work hard and to follow my dreams and to continue to be a follower in Christ. You are my little sister, but you are a huge impact in my life, and I love you dearly. Happy birthday.
Mekalana.